Yeah, all I'm saying is you might be looking and saying, oh, alright, we're compatible in the sense that we do this, we do that, he likes this, I like that, she like this, I like that, or you know, blah blah blah. Bro, when you get into that marriage, my guy, and you step on her toe, if she's not willing to say, if she's not willing to say, oh yes, I accept your apology, you got a problem regardless of how compatible. It don't matter. At the end of the day, it comes down to the value that you see in each other and how much you're willing to compromise to make it work. And compromise is not necessarily a bad thing. It simply just speaks to the fact that you grew up different, you have different likes and dislikes, even though some of them might be similar to mine. But in situations, I have learned, or we have learned, that we will, you know, meds and listen to each other and see how best we can meet each other halfway. And if you're not willing to do that, so you gotta have your hiccups there, man. You have a budget for that. You can't be surprised and say that, oh, this marriage is foolishness because, you know, a big differences, blah blah blah. No, you have to give it time. You're in it forever.
And I think also like a big point is to be patient with your partner. I think I've had to learn over time.
Whoa.
No, we're being honest. Like I think over time we have to learn to be patient with each other when it comes to what. Because I haven't lived, I haven't lived with you before. You haven't lived with me before. So just the little things that, about each other that we haven't, the little things that we don't know about each other. Obviously, getting married because we've never lived before. We never lived with each other before. Those are things that I think people make a mountain. Yeah. When in all honesty, if you give the other person grace, marriage is a learning. As I said, it's a learning curve. So. If it is that this particular thing is annoying to you, you have to say, okay, this person has lived their life for 20, 30 years in this way.
And maybe nobody has ever checked them about it.
And I haven't checked them. It's been okay because it's just them. So now that you're in the picture, there's adjusting that has to take place. So I think people have to give, I think people who are in, you know, committed relationships, partners, marriages, you have to give that person grace. And, you know, not to hammer them on the first go, or, you know, think that because they do this thing that they don't love you or don't care about you.
Or they're doing it to annoy you.
Or they're doing it to annoy you or doing it intentionally. No, it's
sometimes they just need them.
Right, so, yeah. Alright, so we were you talked about sex.
Ooh.
How comfortable are you talking about sex?
100%. It's a natural.
Okay.
Yeah. I think maybe initially they feel.
What were your thoughts initially when you got married? Well, yeah, what were your initial thoughts about being transparent? So TMI, hold on, let's pause and say, if you are, well, most young people, I mean, we just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Right? So just a disclaimer.
You can't put a disclaimer because we're not talking slackness, bro.
No, I know, but just for the people, just for those who find these topics uncomfortable.
Brother, listen, we're not on a disclaimer because we're not talking slackness.
Sure, okay. Period. Sure. What are your, it's now 4 years.
Alright, let me be candid as candid can be, because I've benefited from people's candidness.
Yeah.
So Shanika is the first person I've ever had sex with, eh? So I mean, not take no forward for that, none at all, because it's just by God's grace we managed to fight through and hold it. Right? We got married when I was 25?
3 years ago?
3 years ago. Yeah, I was 25. Yeah, too many dangerous times and snares, right? I wasn't fortunate to fall out of heaven like my beautiful wife here.
I didn't fall out of heaven.
We fall out and just.
Alright, anyways,
so a lot of what I would have had in my mind about sex was, you know, from gimmicks that you watch on TV, where you never supposed to watch. You know, like some, you know, so like a gimmicks material.
What do you say about gimmicks?
Alright, so a lot of what I would have had in my head would have come from, yes, solid information that I would have learned through school or research or whatever, but largely it was dominated primarily by things that I would have seen in illicit content throughout, you know, growing up, teenager, whether you get exposed to it accidentally, or whether in many cases I would have intentionally put myself in positions, or I would have intentionally sought out these kind of material for satisfy curiosity or whatever. So a lot of what I had in my head was largely unreal and damaging in the sense, because you would think. And then the thing is, for those who are Christians, your salvation really covers some of those things, in the sense that when you become a Christian, yes, you're saved, etc., etc. But many of the damages that were done to your mind and your emotions and like what do you call it now, your imagination, those largely remain, and it's over time through knowledge and deliverance in whatever way you get rid of certain things. So I think initially there was a lot of fanfare or fantasy in my head in terms of the mechanics and how things supposed to go, and then your responsibility in terms of how you go about meeting the needs of a woman. Or you probably always see in certain films people doing certain things and the lady respond a certain way, and you just assume that, alright, I guess ladies, or maybe experiences that you've had prior that you would think that, okay, I guess all ladies like this thing. But then when you get in, you realize that, oh, I guess you and your partner have to kind of make this yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I would have learned in terms of, or I would say, our sex journey, or sex, I mean, not say sex journey, but like in terms of sex, yeah, you and your partner kind of have to make it. You and your partner really have to make it. So anything that you had prior, whether it was experiential knowledge or knowledge where you get from watching something, brother, beg God to cancel all of that out of your mind, and you and your partner come together, and whatever level under they on, make it together, and you find that the thing build and come together in ways that you never imagined.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Like for myself, from a woman's perspective, Odi was the first person I have been sexually intimate with. I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect.
Fall out that sky, you remember?
But I don't have crazy stories. But Odi was the first person I've had intercourse with. So I think for me, it was beneficial because I didn't have anyone to compare our experience with. I wasn't thinking like, oh, he's like this one. And if you do, like, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just talking once again from my perspective. I'm not saying that it's better or
you're left.
Or yeah, I'm just saying from our perspective, from me personally, there was nothing to compare it to. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But I know that the first couple, like, once again, if I'm to be transparent, the first couple of times was definitely...
Yeah, it never worked. It never
worked. I'm like, so
worked,
I said, I remember I told someone, I was like, if this is what sex is like...
It never worked, bro.
We might be adopting children.
Yeah, because...
It was actually really difficult.
Yeah.
And an older person sat me down and had a conversation with me. And I was just like... I'm good. But yeah, the first couple times was very, very challenging. So like the whole honeymoon experience it wasn't what I thought it would be, you know, because we watch too much TV.
It just never worked, bro.
And when people, and the thing is, I haven't had a lot of people be transparent with me when it comes to
these things,
that like sex and their first time and the things like that. So I had very few actual experiences of what to expect, so my expectations are very high.
Whoa, so yeah, steady go, you say it right now.
Just in your mind, you fantasize about what you think it's gonna be.
Yeah,
expectations
in
as to
terms of like
what the coming together will look like. Yeah, and it wasn't that.
Whoa, yeah.
The first night we fell asleep, we went to bed.
Yeah, we didn't have sex. We were tired, bro.
We were tired from the wedding, so it wasn't like, and I'm saying we didn't really get it together until maybe a month after.
No, bro. What?
When we came back from Jamaica.
Yeah, no, come back up here.
It was like a month
of
good
trying
tries,
bro. It never worked,
before
bro.
we're like, oh, okay, so this is how we need to do it, right? So
yeah, bro.
Like, just a heads up for anyone who's getting married. Like, it might go smoothly for you. Kudos to you. You know, let me know how that goes. But or not. Or not. But I can say just from our experience, there was a lot of just things that we had to figure out. And we had to put imagination aside.
Not even,
for a
I
moment.
Don't think you. Well, I guess you from that perspective.
As I said, I had expectations, of what you think.
Yeah.
Right? But I had to learn my body. I had to learn what worked for me. I had to be like, okay, what I thought was a turn on, that's not a turn on. And what you think is going to make you whatever is not going to make you whatever. And so you have to kind of figure that stuff out. So I think the biggest thing is to not, you can have expectations, but also be realistic with your expectations, and
Yeah,
don't be
be
upset with yourself if your expectations are not met
initially,
because it will come. Because okay, so ideally now we're 4 years in, right? I can say sex now is much better than it was when we first got married.
True.
And then also tying into the fact that I've had 2 children. Women who have children, you know that your sex, your libido changes, your desire for sex changes. If you know, like all of that has changed, right?
Yeah, but you have explained change in what way? Because some people.
Oh, okay. So so when I mean change,
probably,
when I mean changes, when I first got married, I think, okay, well, since having maybe Jeremiah, I've seen an increase in my libido. Like before, I think it was average. We had sex however often a week, but I think now, I kind of want a little bit more, or a little bit more often, right? So Odin has the challenge of rising to the occasion.
Brother.
Oh God.
All I'm saying.
May God bless you.
See the point here.
But the point that I'm making is that your body changes, and as you change,
yeah,
as your body develops.
Wait. Yo, we need to stop. Act weird when we are talking about these things,
I'm being
no,
funny.
I don't mean
because,
for you. I mean for those who sit down as Pastor Mike, I don't even say it, yo. Those who sit down and their bottom tight right now, listen.
Yeah.
Stop, bro. It's not helping.
Okay, but that's fine. They're boss.
No, I'm just saying, like, in the grand scheme of things, when we are so... Because that's what I'm saying. That's what I said initially. We're not giving any disclaimer.
I just said disclaimer, not because...
It's not you. It's not you. I'm just saying. Because I understand the culture sometimes.
Sometimes people find a bit...
It don't help. It really doesn't help people.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then you have situations later down that people come to church and beg for prayer because husband dissatisfied, wife dissatisfied, and then nobody don't know why.
Right.
This is why, because we don't talk about stuff.
That's true.
We act weird and we make it seem like...
I mean, we're slowly getting better. I think
yeah, we are.
We're definitely
of course
getting better. So
as a people, we are. Especially our church. Big up our church. Big up Good News Release Center. Over the last couple of years, we've had some discussions and we're learning and growing and stuff. But in general, especially our Jamaican culture, we not talk about certain things, bro.
We don't.
And so people get information from the wrong sources, especially for us, Bridging. We can talk about myself personally. A lot of the information we guys learn, even for when they have sex, like outside of marriage, most of what they see on like in pornographic films, they ferry over to those experiences and they try to do this and spin around and treat people like them an acrobat, and with them, you know, they get these things from stuff that they've seen. So if you don't have platforms and people willing for just, you know, like share things in a very respectable way also, because you know, it's not like say we had talk about slackness or whatever, but if you don't have platforms and people just talk about these issues and facts of life in a respectful way, people will get information from the wrong place and that will cause problems. And thank God for thank God for help, bro, and thank God for the fact that we were able to, what do they call it now, be vulnerable enough to communicate stuff to each other and, you know, do some nonsense and make some mistakes and figure things out and say,
Yeah, and I think another point, just to add to the whole sex thing, for women specifically, I think there is this desire to please your partner, to please your husband, and I think sometimes if you have any type of insecurity, it comes to light, especially in sex, right? For women specifically. I know for men, they have their own struggles, but I think the women's struggles are often forgotten because, you know, we talk about the men, you know, coming and them having a good time, but the women being satisfied and enjoying sex equally is not talked about as much. And I think it's equally important that sex for women isn't just about
pleasing the man,
and it isn't just about
having kids,
having children. It's about also she feeling sexy and feeling loved and feeling enjoying herself by her husband. So I think that's also something that as a couple you need to sit down and talk about what's not working, and don't, as a woman, feel like you're subjected to a specific way of having sex, or you feel like this is the only way we're gonna do it because this is what my husband likes. Have a conversation. Baby, I like when you do this, or can we try this? Have those conversations. And if it's uncomfortable, make that also known. You know, like, I actually feel uncomfortable talking about this, but
or doing this
or doing this. Yeah, that's also another point. If you feel uncomfortable about a position, now this might sound really, what's the word, like common sense, but I feel like some people sometimes need validation, or they need to feel like it's okay, or they need to feel like other people have the same experiences. It's okay to tell your partner if you feel uncomfortable about a position, or you feel uncomfortable about doing certain things, or you feel uncomfortable about time, day, or
whatever, or your vibe change,
or you're not interested. That doesn't make it wrong. I know we have this thing that, you know, like, women are not supposed to. We're not supposed to withhold sex, and I'm not saying that you're supposed to use sex as a tool or a weapon, as a woman or as a wife, right? I'm not saying you're supposed to withhold sex, in the mindset, or or with the intention to hurt your partner,
like a punishment,
as a punishment, right? That's crazy. But I do think that it is okay to be transparent and honest when you are not.
It's more than okay, bro. You should.
You should be.
If you don't feel comfortable, that should be a conversation.
Being open, and you should be able to be honest with your partner and tell them how you feel.
In my experience, or in our experience, I've told you multiple times, bro. If you're not feeling the vibe, bro, say it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm grateful that you said that, but I didn't even need him to say that, because the relationship that we had prior to coming to bed, I'm comfortable enough to be no, not right now.
Or in some cases, I'm not feeling it, but you know, but let's try, or whatever.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Because as me say, everybody, you might not feel the vibe to pray, but I feel like praying. And then you just say, alright, fine, maybe me not go pray as loud, you're gonna just whisper it and hold my hand. Yeah. Say it, bro. And then sometimes both persons feel like praying, and you storm heaven. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So you have to just. Nobody should have. What I'm realizing, I mean, I said this with all humility, because problems happen and things happen, but you really shouldn't have some major issues that a lot of people do have, and I think it really comes down to not feeling comfortable enough to communicate everything.
And I'm also of the belief that sex is not the epitome of marriage. No. It is not the start of marriage. It is an important part of marriage, but I think there are some people who are of the belief that sex is the start of marriage, right? This is my belief, I believe that there are several ways that you can be intimate with your partner and not have sex.
Yeah, and remember too, we had an experience where after Jeremiah was born, it was very, what would I call it now? It was I don't call it traumatic, but it was very difficult.
I had a hard.
Yeah, it was difficult, right? And for several months, we could not have sex. Let's say sex was the epitome, or the what do you call it now? The shining star of our intimacy. Then that would mean that for the couple of months, them brother were never intimate, or the intimacy dropped, and that wasn't the case.
No,
because stuff can happen, bro. Like, I've heard of experiences where people get married, and for the as soon as they marry, my lecturer in uni told me about a couple that was going to their church for 6 years. The guy he got sick with his kidney or something like that for the first 6 years. And even people from the church was encouraging the wife, like, yo, it makes sense you divorce, because it's not like you've been married to him long.
Oh, wow.
And she stuck with him through it all. And he recovered, and they went on to have kids, and did good.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, you don't know what lot you will be dealt. So you have to, as I'm saying, you have to see the most important value that you should see is in the person.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what you can get from the person, but you should see the value in the person. And the point is, even if you're not there 100% yet, try and make that your focus. How can I see more value in this person that I'm married to, so that whenever these little nuances of life come up, whether illness or some issue, or somebody have to travel, or somebody have to that, I can still feel that same level of connection.
Yeah.
And then when you throw sex in there, it just skyrockets it even more. Right. But it's not like, if this thing is pulled away from us for a few weeks or a few months or whatever, then boy, Jano, the marriage mash up.
Right.
yeah, that I hope that in my opinion, I don't think that's a safe emotional space to be in, because all kind of things can happen.
Yeah.
People can move away, people can get job opportunities or require the couple to separate for a little while. Stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you know just have this one thing, as if we don't have sex 3 times a week, then boy we're not intimate, then or if 2 weeks pass, then boy maybe she not really rate me again, or 2 weeks pass but maybe my husband is having sex with somebody else, and those, you understand, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
You can't really control everything in life.
No, you
sometimes.
can't. You can't. Life happens. Well, we're learning that life doesn't happen. And that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, like I just wanted to shed light on that, because I think it's something that I think people still in church circles struggle with, and I think it's just something that just needs to be a conversation with you and your partner. It's not a conversation you need to have with other people. It's a conversation for you and your partner. So what works for you and your husband, is what should be the focus of the relationship. And don't have no third party, don't have no fourth party, don't have no mother-in-law, don't have no sister-in-law, don't have nobody involved in the decision making of your marriage. It's between you and your partner. I'm not saying don't
you
seek
take
counsel.
advice and counsel from wise people.
Not saying you can't take counsel or take the opinions of
advice.
those who are older than you, who are coming up and have thoughts and opinions better. And at the end of the day, we bring thoughts and ideas together and we say, okay, what was said, what's working best for us, how can we take what we've heard and make it work for us. And if that's the focus, your marriage will do well, right? You kind of have to drown out the outside noise, because not all noise,
and not every good opinion is good for you too.
Right. James in scripture talks about the perfect and good gift. Some things are good, but they're not perfect for you.
Yeah,
so what works for one person as a perfect and good gift for you is the two don't come together. So I would just say just learn as you go, and don't pressure yourself, because it will happen at due time. You will figure it out in due time. There's no rush, right? So to wrap up this video, I think we've been talking for a minute. What are your last thoughts wrapping up this part of the video as it pertains to marriage, relationships?
I'm glad that we're married. Yeah. I'm happy.
You think we should have waited?
Nah, bro. Nah.
Yeah.
Wait for what, fam?
I don't know. That's just a random thing. You know, people.
God has spoken. Let the church say.
Amen.
Bro, I have not developed that capacity. Well, maybe not say that, because that's a pride. Because we tell God no, we're regular. But no, bro. Wait for what, fam? Like, we jump in, we trust God, and we have, push our way through, overcome challenges, and I'm happy. I'm looking forward to my future.
Yeah.
Or kids growing up, and I'm happy and I'm grateful. You?
Me too. I would say the same thing. We've had struggles and there have been obstacles, but at the end of the day, I think everything that we've experienced has been only for our greater good.
Betterment. Yeah.
And the only thing I'm sad about is that we haven't been married for longer. We wish we met each other maybe when we were 20 or 19.
Just start doing this thing for early.
Right. So that's the only regret, if there is one. But I think we've been doing good so far. And we're just going to continue to move forward. So guys, please like and comment on this video. Part 2 is coming at some point. But thank you guys so much for watching. And we will see you in another video.
Yeah, man. Big up, everybody. Give thanks.